Hey folks, welcome back to Only Best Fantasy Novels. My name is Robin, and today I want to talk about Richard K. Morgan's No Man's Land. And this is just a banger of a standalone fantasy novel where we have it's set against the backdrop of World War One with a fantastical fairy twist to it. And we have the story of a former soldier, now hunter, and hunter slash troubleshooter of all things fairy, who accepts a commission to rescue a child who's been kidnapped by the Fae folk, and it takes him into some of the deepest, darkest parts of the along the front lines of the war, essentially, in multiple ways. So yeah, you can already tell this is a book that's not going to be happy-go-lucky, and that's very much what you get. So why did I enjoy this book for so much? First and foremost, we have the main character who is just this grizzled, tired, beaten down veteran. You know, he's had a pretty rough life. He's gone through some stuff. He has a very, very interesting backstory as well. One that just gets that much more fascinating as more and more is revealed. Like, there's a reason why he has the skill set that he has when it comes to tracking, when it comes to being able to being able to survive going into the parts of the woods where the Fae folk live, and understanding their culture and their society and these kind of things. You'll have to read and find out what that is, but yeah, it's that kind of story where we have, that particular type of character, kind of a little bit stoic, a little bit tired, a little hardened, grizzled, out of touch with his feelings. That brutal kind of person in a sense, but with that heroic vein running through him. That's pretty much the main character that we have. And the other characters to the story, they're very much people who we can envision living in these times, just trying to scrape by and survive on the front lines of the war, just trying to live some semblance of a normal life. And then we have other characters who actively thrive on the war, who actively thrive on the way that society has shifted, the way that things are being done, and see it as a way to gain more power, to gain more advantage, to set themselves up above their fellow man in ways that, let's just say we don't like people like that. Let's just leave it at that. But you get the idea. It's a very interesting cast of characters that works well for the story. Works especially given the backdrop, the particular backdrop of World War One. But the way the world building gets interesting is that this is a world where the fairies suddenly made a reappearance, and it's begun to encroach on the places where humans previously lived, and as a result, the war essentially triggered them. Their wake up moment and decided that okay, we can't allow humans to live and let live anymore, given the scale of destruction that they're capable of causing. That kind of vibe, and as a result of that, we very much have a world where fairy is this very dangerous, very dark thing that which makes our main character that much more fascinating, because he is clearly someone who is able to function on the edges of both these societies. As to the story itself, like it's just a down to earth, ground and pound kind of story. Like we have the mystery of going after this child, and then the second layer of the mystery, which is why the entire story surrounding this child. Like why was this child in the position that he was in when it was captured? Like, what's going on with the family situation? How does that tie into what's happening with the war, with certain political elements that are making moves when it comes to the war and these kind of things? It gets very nebulous, it gets very twisty turny as a result of that, and it is a story that escalates and gets dark. Like there's very brutal things in here. This is very much a time of war, and people will take advantage of a setting like that to they will take advantage of a setting like that. Let's put it like that. So this book can get it can get very emotional. It can get very disturbing in some ways. But when you stop and really think about what exactly Richard K. Morgan is portraying with some of these scenarios and some of the some of the things that he puts on this page. That being said, like the magic in this book was I like the way it was handled. Like it really fits the tone and the vibe of the story, which is just this dark, gritty feel to it. Like magic is not this and the fairy realm as well. It's not this we don't see the beautiful side of fairy. We don't see the wondrous part of it. The inspirational side of it. Like even the on the more human side, where when things get a little more mystical, get a little more magical as well. Like just the way it has this brutalistic feel to it. This dark, horrible feel to it. Like this is something that only that should be associated with like the dregs of society. That kind of feel to it. Or you don't want to mess with it with the people who mess with this kind of stuff. Like it's really well done. Like I said, it really fits the overall atmosphere of this book, which is dark, which is gloomy, which is perfect for the type of story that's being told. Because never forget, at the base of this story, it is very much about a child kidnapping. So yeah, it gets very intense, and Richard K. Morgan is just he's a masterful author because he just so perfectly portrays all of this to the reader. Like this is very much the kind of story you will immerse yourself in and just read. Like this is one of those rare books where I found myself just reading very slowly, just soaking in every line, soaking in the description, stopping to think about what was being portrayed to me here, stopping to really imagine and envision the different scenarios and these kind of things. And yeah. Maybe I should have been doing that. Maybe I should have been focusing on something a little more lighthearted. It would have been better for my soul. That's not to say like this book is grimdark and horrible and gratuitous in the way it does all of this. It's just part of the world building. It's just as a consequence of how this world is shaped, what's happening in this world, and these kind of sort of things. And that's what makes this book work really well. All in all, just a bang of a novel from start to finish. It is definitely going to be one of my favorite standalones moving forward. A book I highly recommend, especially given, especially for certain types of readers that I know are into are into more militaristic, more darker side types of stories. It's definitely one. I would have to say this is one of the best books of the year, easily. And yeah, that's my take on Richard K. Morgan's No Man's Land. Really well done, and yet another reason why I need to get to everything else this guy has read. Like I'm ashamed to say this is the first book by him I've read, even though I have at least 2 of his series on my TBR for more years than I care to think about at this point. But yeah, that's my take on No Man's Land. If you made it this far into the video, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.